Well done on completing the awakening. As always, we have a nice little surprise for you all. Rima and Turkbar have done some as well. So these are the additional videos for completing the awakening. So let's just get into it. As always, we've got the M5. So let's dig into what we see. What is the first thing that we always start with our awakening checklist? Of course, it is, has Asia ended? And I can tell you, yes, Asia has ended. Okay, perfect. So, just gonna give this away. On this day, we do not have a medium inducement for the day, but we do have a medium inducement that we are trading away from the prior day. So we'll go into that a little bit. But obviously, what do we see here? Well, obviously, we have to mark up our first liquidity points for the day, which was, of course, Asia high and Asia low. But other than that, we don't have too much going on. So let's jump into the overall picture on the M15. Now, what we can see the previous day is first we had our equal highs that they induced to the high side to do what? Go lower. And then we had all of these equal lows induced to go higher. Makes sense? And then obviously we expect this to get taken out, but what do we do that's even nicer? We actually hold it. And you see the way we push away, this brings in all the sellers. Everyone's changing their mind. Oh yeah, it sells, it sells. Retail traders, they see the equal highs, and then once we break out of Asia to the downside, they're in their sells. But we know we've got our medium inducement low. We know exactly what should happen. Also think about it from a smart money perspective. Higher high, lower low. Lots of extreme limits there for the sells. They're obviously entering their position, likely TPing at a new low. So what can we expect from here? Well, I think it should be pretty clear. But for this one, yes, we've identified our potential medium inducement zones. Obviously for this, there wasn't too much as the medium inducement happened the previous day. And we've identified our POI, this one, directly below Asia. Perfect. So let's jump into the next bit. Obviously, pre-London Open, so we induce Asia low to the downside. And then pre-London Open, we create another set of equal lows right above our POI. So this should be ringing some bells. We should be thinking about certain things here. Obviously not going to give it away straight away, but yes. Where are they building the liquidity? They're building it to the downside. We know that overall we have our targets higher, but for the moment they're building the liquidity to the downside right above this POI. And obviously they induced out of Asia range. So we have after we have the overall inducement of the equal lows into our POI away from the medium inducement, obviously the medium inducement was over there, we then have our relevant break of structure on the M5, and we know that overall we have some inkling of our target to the top side. So we did not have a medium inducement, but we did have an RBOS away from our inducement for the day. So this should begin to sort of come together. We can understand, okay, here's our POI after our relevant break of structure, pulls back, inducement in London Open, pulls back into mitigation. So yes, our inducement POI has imbalance. Perfect. That's our last check. So what is our next one? Do we have a valid target in mind? So let's have a look. But first, what do we do? Well, of course, it's not just a game of, oh, we've had our inducement, now we rock it. What we need is at every step, we need to build liquidity. So first, we fake the equal highs, get the strong push away. People are getting in. They're getting excited because you've got to remember overall, we have our equal highs up here that people are trying to trade away from. And you've got to remember, people who trade the Asia range breakout, this is their stop loss. This is where it is, maybe a little bit higher above, but somewhere in that region. So faking the reaction away, we also give the equal high confluence and now with this push away, other people may be jumping into sells. So we have to keep that in mind. But we know, okay, we're trading away from our medium inducement to the left. We've obviously mitigated the POI away from that, built liquidity above, given our relevant breaker structure into mitigation, and now we expect to go. So let's have a look at what happens. So obviously for target, well, like we spoke about, so many people selling from here. You've got your smart money traders, probably M5, M1 extreme. They've been tagged in. They're thinking that they're running straight to profit. Equal highs, they're getting in. Resistance, they're getting in. Everyone's getting in. So why does this mean that this should be our most logical target? Well, if we know that we've had a medium inducement to the downside, we're now trading away from that, we know that we want to target where people's stop losses are, and obviously people's stop losses are going to be above here, so this makes the most logical target. So how many things do we have in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 out of 10, not bad. We can look to trade it. So obviously just using the M5, we have something like this, right? Where you've got your inducement in London open, followed by your relevant breaker structure, back down into mitigation, into your overall target of the equal highs. But we are not limited to the M5. So let us jump down into the M1. Okay, so obviously this bit of price action right here is what we're looking at on the M1, just obviously more candles. So it's exactly the same on the M1. After you come into your POI, you get your relevant breaker structure, which happens after your inducement. You're trading away from your medium inducement overall. And then this would be your first entry. Now, depending on how aggressive you want to be, you either put your SL here or SL here. Personally, I'd recommend if it's your first win of the day, or you haven't had your first win of the day yet, you choose to stay in the trade and you put your SL here. Then after that, you get the beautiful re-entry, which comes obviously after your relevant breaker structure into mitigation. This is obviously the better entry, but you do have to keep in mind that this one here, the one with this second one, will not happen as often. Often what you'll find is you'll get something like this. It'll come in, it'll go, and if it does pull back, it normally will not give this second mitigation. But if you do get that, then great. So let's have a look at what these would be. So for the M1, it's this first one is 1 to 11, and the second one is 1 to 13. But obviously, depending on how you trade, maybe you take both of these, maybe you only take one, maybe you take neither and you just take it off the M5. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much. What I'd recommend is that you do what you're comfortable with and you do what works for you. And to know what that is, you have to test it out. There's going to be a lot of work required after the awakening. It's not going to click straight away. You're going to need to put in a lot of time. And yeah, just to be like completely honest with you guys, obviously we're in an industry where only, I think it's 5% of people make it, probably even less. That's just the numbers they give you, probably even less. So it should go without saying that an immense amount of work is required, even if you do have an edge over other people, because then you've got to take into account psychology. Once you get to this point where you're exchanging money for money, you're exchanging money and time for money. If you go work a job, you're guaranteed to get paid whatever that amount is. In trading, if you put in the time, eventually you will get to that point, but you're not guaranteed to get to that point. You need to put in the time and you need to put in the effort, and this is obviously no different. But that's me done for the awakening. I hope everyone has enjoyed it. I hope you've taken good things away. I know that it will change your chart vision, and I can promise you that if you do put in the work, you will get good things from it.